can get up to 100% financing on a land loan with CIBC Caribbean.
Really? No down payment?
With 15 years to repay, it's so affordable.
Now we can finally move forward with the land we love.
Get up to 100% financing, half off the loan application fee, and up to 15 years to repay a land loan. Plus, CIBC Caribbean will give you $675 towards your valuation fees. Promotion ends March 31, 2025. Terms and conditions apply. Visit CIBCFCIB.com for more information.
Edinburgh Napier University, the #1 modern university in Scotland, is now recruiting for their May 2025 intake and is holding a free information session at the Kuna Conference Centre, Wilkin Street, Bastair, on March 13th from 6:30 p.m. to 8 p.m. Edinburgh Napier's programs, which include the AACSB, accredited MBA and BA Business, are 100% online, 100% relevant, and 100% flexible. Reserve a place now at www.seidegrees.com. That's www.seidegrees.com.
Welcome to Island Tea with your faves. Keep it locked in with us for your daily dose of hot tea, only on Win Media 98.9.
Good morning, and welcome to today's edition of Island Tea. It is March 13th, 2025. It is a Thursday, and most of us woke up to the sad news this morning of a road tragedy here in the island of St. Kitts. And it says a terrible fatal accident early this morning on the bypass road near the roundabout by Gillard gas station has claimed the life of a young man. Details surrounding the crash remain unclear, but emergency responders confirmed the tragic loss. The heartbreaking news has sent shockwaves through the community. Sincere condolences to his grieving family and friends during this difficult time, and may his soul rest in peace. And this short excerpt comes from the St. Kitts Nevis Times. Condolences to the young man's family on behalf of us all here at Win FM. Folks, as we admonish you, we don't know the situation of this accident, but please be extremely careful on the road. If you're tired, pull off, lock your car, take a sleep, wake up, get home safely. Make sure you inform your family that you're tired, you can't make it home. If somebody can come and get you, then they can. Wear your seatbelts, strap the kids in. Remember, no ways far. If you're late, I oftentimes say apologize to your superiors and try your best not to do it again, but let's take it easy. You're expected home. We do not need any more road tragedies. This is our second for this year. On another note, to lift, as we would say, lift the vibes, we know it's the Lenten season, and I wanted to engage us all, so to find out what are we giving up for this Lenten season, and why do we feel the need to give up whatever we are giving up. And I'm going to see if you know what started, I don't want to say this trend, but what started the whole idea of giving up something for the Lenten season. And I know Gregory knows where it comes from. Good morning, Greg. Good morning, Cleo. Good morning, Skeeter. Good morning, Gwyneth. Good morning to all our regular listeners. Miss Wall, Miss Brisbane. Good morning, good morning, good morning. To the regional and international diaspora, good morning. Mario over there in Nevis. Good morning to the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. So, Quinn, do you know where the tradition came from of giving up something for the Lenten season?
No, I don't.
No. I was reading that it coincides with the fast that Jesus did in what do we call it, the desert, where he fasted for 40 days and 40 nights when the devil tried to tempt him, yeah, because you're hungry. Yes. A couple of days ago, myself and my coworker was talking about that. Every time you're fasting, you're just hungry, you suddenly have all kind of pains, water just isn't enough. And we were even making a comparison to when you have a breakup. You don't eat, you're fine, you don't have gas, nothing wrong with you, you just lose the weight naturally. But try fasting. Everything just is a problem. Belly hurts, head hurts, all kind of gas pains. So Yeah, that is what it is. I clearly said I'm not giving up anything. I don't know. I see it as although it's biblical, I see it as a thing. So I don't give up anything for Lent. I've never done it, and I don't want to say I don't want to start, but
Lent,
yeah,
who isn't that associated with the Roman Catholic Church, or does it go broadly across
no, I think
all
broadly,
the churches?
yeah, because
okay.
this is the time where most churches fast and pray for 40 days and whatever. Some people do the Daniel fast, which is just fruits and waters, so you're still eating, so you don't get the gas and all of that. But I never did it, and I don't know. Maybe Jesus needs to talk to me about doing it, but I never thought to give up anything for this particular season per se.
Mm.
So for those of you listening, you can let us know what you are giving up this season. All right. Quinn, you were about to say something?
No, I'm here perusing some
Oh, okay,
stuff.
okay. I don't know if you saw it yesterday. I think I sent it to you. But the High Commission in Trinidad and Tobago yesterday, he came out and mentioned that Trinidadians will no longer be using the ETA, but they have to get a visa, a UK visa, because the number of asylum seekers has risen from 2023, I guess, to 2024. Not I guess, to 2024. So when people are saying when they apply for the ETA that they're going for vacation, what it's basically saying is that they're going on the false pretense.
What's an ETA?
It's something in the place of a visa.
Mm.
So you don't naturally have to go and get the visa in your passport.
Oh.
You just apply if it's online, because that's what we do now for Canada.
Oh,
You apply if
okay.
it's online, you answer pertinent questions, and then you're granted an access. You get a, what do we call it, a barcode
Yeah.
with a number that they scan when you get there. And you pay, I think the one for the UK is about £10. Let me make sure I'm not giving wrong information. But let me just clarify that.
And that visa, is it for an extended period or is it just for a specific period? Like
Most visas are. Because the US sometimes give you visas, like if you say you're going for 2 weeks and you're in a country that, how should I say, likes to overstay.
Yeah.
I remember back in the day, if a Guyanese said they were going to the US for like 2 weeks, they gave them exactly 2 weeks. Only now, even in a 5-year passport, but now I see Guyana has now extended it where you can buy a 10-year passport as well. So you can have either a 5-year, let me not say buy, you can pay for a 5-year or a 10-year passport, because it makes no sense to have a 10-year visa in a 5-year passport, because when that passport's done, you have to go get a next one to coincide with your visa if you want to travel. So I think the British visa extends up to 10 years, just like the Canadian and the US.
Oh, okay.
It depends, I guess. It depends on whom they decide to give what. But most times, we know for the US, you get a full 10 years once you fit the criteria and you qualify. I'm pulling up because I want it to be exactly how it was said. I don't want to change anything. Give me. Okay, I can't hear it.
Introducing a visitor visa requirement for nationals of Trinidad and Tobago traveling. Here is some important news. From today, the 12th of March 2025, we are introducing a visitor visa requirement for nationals of Trinidad and Tobago traveling to the UK. This means that all Trinidad and Tobago nationals must obtain a visa before traveling to the UK for all visits. Trinidad and Tobago nationals will no longer be eligible to travel under the Electronic Travel Authorization Scheme, and those planning to transit through the UK will now need a direct airside transit visa. In any country, including the UK, security, including border security, has to be our priority. we regularly review our visa and immigration policies to ensure they remain effective. On this occasion, there's been a significant increase in the number of unjustified asylum applications by Trinidad and Tobago nationals at the UK border. Unfortunately, the actions of a small minority have meant that our ministers have had to take the difficult decision to introduce a visa requirement. There will be a short transition period until 23rd of April 2025 for visitors who already have confirmed travel booking and an electronic travel authorization. You can find all the info about this period, all other requirements, and the application process on the UK government website at the link in the description. I understand that many of you will find this news disappointing, and that's why I wanted to explain it to you personally. Of course, here at the British High Commission, we will continue to work hand in hand with our friends and colleagues in Trinidad and Tobago to strengthen our partnership. As part of that, we want you to continue to travel to the UK as much as Brits do to Trinidad and Tobago to discover the best of both countries.
So, yeah, Trinidad will be needing a visa now to go to England. And I remember when Canada had stopped, just like how they stopped it yesterday, but there's still a little leeway for them because if they already have the ETA until April 23rd, they can go. But after that, it's definite visa, visa, visa. I remember when Canada had cut the free travel for Antiguans, they cut it the exact same day, and folks had to be sending their passports to get Canadian visas. And I saw there was an article on Loop that outlined it a bit more. So let me, because he said what he said, but he didn't go into full detail. So I guess Loop would have spoken to the High Commission there, and they got further information. It's always there, and when you want it, you can never find it. All right. Okay. Here goes. It says, and as I mentioned, it's from Loop News. Trinidad and Tobago citizens will now require tourist visas for short visits to the United Kingdom. The UK High Commissioner to Trinidad and Tobago, John Dean, shared a post via social media on Wednesday explaining the development, which takes effect yesterday. Wait, I'm not seeing. The one I'm looking for, oh boy. Give me 1 second. 1 second. Let me see if it's this one instead. But Quinn, do you think we'll ever get to that?
St. Kitts Nevis?
Yep.
I don't know. As he said, a few renegades, if you want to use that word, caused the majority to suffer. So it all depends. Maybe a few, people who go dreary of the rules and regulations could affect us to that extent.
But maybe they're looking at it too, that Trinidad is not such a dire country. So the explanation of seeking asylum when they get up there, maybe them looking at it, it doesn't make sense unless you're in grave danger.
Well, I guess so.
I found the one that I was looking for, and it says data released by the UK government showed 117 applications for asylum were refused in the last quarter of 2024, compared to 81 for the corresponding period in 2023.
But then, isn't Trinidad and Tobago where they had a state of emergency and all that kind of stuff?
Recently, yeah.
So I would assume that there are things happening internally that would cause individuals to want to seek asylum, because with all the crime and kidnapping and all that kind of stuff, you never know.
But we hear all of this, right?
Yeah.
But still, Trinidad manages to have the biggest carnival every year.
Well, I
never
guess
understand how.
I guess, as a Calypsonian said, don't mess with we carnival. So everything, anything you can mess with, but I think it was Kitchener who way back in the day said you could mess with everything. I think he said there was a sort of a epidemic going around at the time, and the people said we don't care. We want carnival. So maybe that is the case. Mess with anything, but when it comes to carnival, that must be as usual. So.
Yeah, I guess. And I was even looking at the number of persons that apply for asylum. So I guess in the UK, so I guess they don't want to add any more because they said at the ending of December 2024, 84,200 applications for asylum relating to 108,100 individuals.
Wow,
so I guess they don't want to add to that.
84,000, that's a lot.
Yeah. Well, not from Trinidad, but from all around. So I guess they don't want to add to that. And it also says the UK received the 5th largest number of asylum seekers among European countries in the year ending June 2024. So 97,107.
Why is it that people want to flock to the UK, knowing some of the,
Why is it people want to flock all over? Because the same thing with the US. I learned too, as of October 2023, Turkey hosts the highest number of refugees in the world. I didn't even know that. Colombia hosts the 2nd largest number of refugees. Again, we hear Colombia has cartels, but people are still going there. A way to get away from what they're feeling over in their countries.
There's an old saying that what seems like a pain for you might be a pleasure for someone else, because whereas you might think that you have it hard, someone else is considering it, absolutely devastating. So we cannot determine why individuals, want to seek asylum, but people need relief from whatever stress and ailment they're going through. It is unfortunate because we wish the world was just a place where people could stay where they are and be comfortable, but unfortunately it's not that way.
Because it even says 52% of all refugees in the world were displaced from just 3 countries by the end of 2022: Syria, Afghanistan, and Ukraine.
Okay.
And we know these are all war-torn countries.
Yeah.
And it says the U.S. has resettled over 3 million refugees since 1975. So we know the U.S. has people seek asylum over there. A lot of people seek asylum in Canada as well.
We have a caller.
Okay. Caller, good morning. You're live on Island T.
Hey, good morning, Carter. Good morning, Queen. How are we doing?
I'm fine, thank you. Yesterday I sent out a call, so I'm glad to hear you today. I know that you're okay.
Because I couldn't pick up the radio station on Alexa.
Okay.
To tune in.
Yeah, okay.
So I was saying maybe current down. You had a power outage?
Perhaps because when I came in, the most of part of yesterday, the phone lines weren't working. And I understand whenever current goes, we have that bit of a problem. So I assumed that was the case. Yeah. And that shouldn't happen.
We need more reliable communication systems.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
Yeah, most of the stations and every little thing.
Throws off.
Before I continue, I have a request. As I heard on Zereza this morning, lawyer Agatha James. I guess she's in the hospital.
Okay.
Have you?
No.
I'm not aware. I don't know who she is.
Asking for blood donation.
Okay.
Oh, positive?
Yes.
Oh, boy.
So repeat that again. Repeat that again. The hospital is...
The family of lawyer, Agatha James, is asking people to donate blood or positive.
Okay.
She's at the hospital. She has been in the ICU now for a few days.
Yeah, okay.
So they need blood.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right, so some of the young healthy ones, they're not going to kill you. So please, because you never know who will be next.
Yes.
Like how she talked about the young man who got killed.
Yeah.
In the accident. You could be injured. You may not die. But your family, you may need blood,
Yeah.
So if you're healthy enough and you whatever, go up and tell them you come to donate for Agatha James. Now, to this thing, Trinidadians used to flock to Canada,
Oh.
Yeah, and claim asylum.
Okay.
I think one or two petitions tried it and it didn't get through. They were claiming that the homosexual are being harassed or whatever.
Yeah. Mm.
You sure they didn't get through? Because I know a few persons from Antigua who did that, and they live in Canada now.
Yeah, petition, you did it. Because they come and check your country, you know.
Oh, okay.
When you're in Jamaica, they don't burn them, roast them, whatever them.
Mm-hmm.
But the fellow was on the radio here. He's married.
Oh, so he didn't get through?
No, he didn't get through because they came to say, well, instinct is more or less accepted, you know? Nobody really harass you.
You mean he's married to a man?
Yeah, he came here and he was even trying to get them to put the person as his next whatever you call it,
as his
wife.
Yeah.
Whatever part the husband.
Uh-huh.
That didn't get through. So I don't have any other, but people give it things like persecution and that kind of thing. They don't just hand it to you. They check to see the conditions back home.
Yeah.
Now with Colombia, when the U.S. and they tried to get rid of Mazura, whatever name, and they put up the opposition leader, and the war, if you want to call it war, started, the majority of the people and all of the pressure they put on them, restriction,
yes,
they don't go across the border to Colombia. So they may even have more Venezuelans in Colombia than back home.
Yeah.
Okay, wow.
So that is why you'll find so many. But this world is something you think you're comfortable here.
Yeah.
That's why we need to pray now.
Yeah.
And some people say, oh, I don't pray to God, well, brother. There come a time when you need God more than God needs you.
I think that's the case all the time. I think we
because we know in the situation. We're not in anything. We're not fighting anybody. We're not this, none of that. But the Trump net has no border until God intervene.
Yeah.
I get bolder and bolder and braver and braver. You say, once you conquer one. That's why sometimes when a lot of us, we say, no, don't keep up the radio. If some of us don't talk, you'll be in deeper trouble, you know.
Yeah.
You keep your mouth shut.
Yeah, if people say you keep your mouth shut, it is expected that you're comfortable.
Yeah, you look what is happening. I play C-SPAN nowadays a lot. And people bawling, oh, we voted for him, you know, and now we lose the job.
Yeah.
I mean, how do you rationalize losing your livelihood for something that you gave consent to?
Well.
And that's not the beginning. That's not the beginning of sorrows.
But Miss Henry, don't you think they should have had an inkling that he was? I mean, he had a first term, and you really.
Yeah, but remember, you know, he's also known to exaggerate, and you know what I mean.
Well,
his words are not always reliable. So based on that, look at all of these cases that he could do anything. You can't persecute him, so he said, all right, well, they can't do me nothing. You know? But sometimes we get, look, even saying you think unity people don't ball, and yet right now Labour people balling.
But
no, I mean, seriously.
Do you
because
ever think
your expectation go beyond the capacity of even the person who made the promise?
Yeah, that is true. That is true.
Whereas you could come and say, you know, sorry, I really didn't understand it was going to be like this. People don't want to hear that. All we hear, well, pull out the manifesto. Let me see it. Let me show you the 7-point plan.
Yeah.
And some people,
whatever you promise, you have to deliver. Whatever you promise, you ought to deliver. That's how
people expect you. Yeah. People expect you.
Look at Trump. Look at Trump now. I know we always resort to the U.S., but
look at the workers who saying we were promised 600 houses a year, you know. Yeah. And I think it's this week, right? When the deputy prime minister said that they ain't coming.
Yeah, I heard recently that it's off the books now entirely. That wow,
you can imagine the amount of work people envisage.
Let me ask you something, Sylvine. Don't you think that sometimes the individuals who are campaigning would know fully well that this is not cemented, but they're just trying it to get into power? Don't you think that's
part of campaigning?
Yeah.
We always say a promise is a comfort to a fool.
Exactly, because I was just going to say we are campaigning on the false pretense then.
Yeah.
Well, you think some of them don't know that? Some of them are hoping, you understand? Because some of the promises are beyond the person who makes it.
When you say some of them, caller, you mean us, the electorate, constituents, or
even the politicians? No,
the politicians themselves.
Some of them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you understand, you work in the airline thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
If they say, by next year we can own our own plane.
Mm-hmm.
You understand what I mean?
Yeah.
You jump up, yeah. We don't want late because we got our own plane.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No, if they can't afford a car, they can't even put gas in a car. They come by plane.
Yeah. So we have to be realistic in whenever they come to us with certain things, assess it, and.
Some of us are desperate.
Yeah.
That's why the Bible says, woe to the man who's put his trust in man, whose hope a man is. Some of them doesn't mean well and hope it work out. Or we can have 2 and 3 and 4 hotels, and then the investors put down so much demand that they can't meet them.
That is.
So anyway, for those of you who are able, please go up to the hospital blood bank and donate positive blood for Agatha James.
Okay.
Miss Henry, what are you giving up for Lent?
I'm giving up not wanting to give somebody some people. Let me tell you what I'm giving up. I'm tempted to give up. I give up not demanding reciprocity for some actions. Some people will be begging you for it.
Okay.
So you forgive them. So you take up forgiveness, right?
Okay.
It is now with food, Well, it's a Catholic thing, really. And then it merges into the Passover.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that is what I thought.
Yeah, that's what Quinn was saying, but I tell him I think it's a broad thing because I know a lot of churches do it.
The other church gradually
No, but it's really
it.
in the Passover, they were advised to have these feasts.
Mm-hmm.
So you should because they went to do the Passover meal, where they ate thing without leaven or whatever.
Yeah, on 11.
It's like this thing about never again. Never again is Passover,
Okay.
The Lord brought us out of slavery from Egypt. So they say never again. Every time you think, you say, why not again?
Mm-hmm.
So, but in the Christian thing, they say, well, we enter into the suffering of Jesus Christ. You follow?
Yeah.
So he denied himself. And the Bible says so he gave up his right. That we may have life. Good morning, Journey. That's my good friend, Why are you giving up? But it doesn't have to be food all the time.
Yeah.
Okay. But some people give up alcohol and all of that. Alcohol isn't food.
Alcohol is a drug. It is a lot for you to give alcohol, If you are alcoholic, your body go into distress. But you have to do your discipline too,
Yeah.
Before time it was food and you can't eat nothing with blood. Some of those things are Catholic, Because the Catholic put a lot of things on them. They interpret it,
Yeah.
But even now they make allowances. You can't eat on a Friday, some kind of story like that.
Yeah.
But we got things we could give up. We could give up hating.
Yeah.
And give up some cussing Miss Henry when she opens her mouth.
That's a good one.
Give up cussing Queen.
Because we need Miss Henry. We need folks like Miss Henry that knows the history and know
so
a
much
lot.
things.
Yeah, exactly.
So much.
And if you're not going to speak, then let Miss Henry speak,
give
right?
up hate.
Yeah.
And give up greed.
Yeah.
Guys, greed got some people asking. And give up lack of faith.
Yep.
And give up. Go and buy a ring. Go and get married. You don't got to have no ring.
Miss Henry, I thought we were talking about giving coming up. Oh, so
you gotta
so give up the sin and buy the ring.
Watch me.
Uh-huh.
If you want sex, you must be married. Ask my friend Eli X. He says sex is marriage.
Oh boy.
That's the way it was traditionally, back in Africa.
Yeah, you don't have the one knuckle dog.
Yeah.
Even when they're allowed to have more than one wife. His wife, the name,
Yeah.
The concubine them over days or so.
Oh boy.
Okay,
and
Miss.
once the concubine went with you, you go in the concubine camp.
Yeah. Okay, Miss.
Now they make sure that they castrated the men. So you can't say, well, them near wife, they can't go in there. But it's time we give up this lot of loose living.
Yeah.
And give up putting down yourself.
Yeah.
And give up small thinking. Stop thinking you can't.
Yeah. I want to take a bit of a break. I want to take a commercial break right about now.
Yeah, that's good. But don't forget, if you're able and physically fit, please go and donate positive blood.
Yes.
Alrighty. Got
Okay.
you.
Take care, Miss Henry. Thanks for
you.
calling. Yeah.
We're 98.9. 98.9. Win FM.
Do you want to know what's happening in sport? Tune in to On the Ball, a weekly tour show which is on Win FM 98.9 every Tuesday from 7 to 9 p.m. with me, your host, Troy Biff Mills. We will keep you on the ball with our variety of guests and, of course, your calls, discussing the facts and the stats and sharing your opinions. Get on the ball and stay on the ball by tuning into On the Ball with Troy Biff Mills on Win FM 98.9 every Tuesday night from 7 to 9 p.m. and also on Facebook and YouTube. Be on the ball.
Edinburgh Napier University, the #1 modern university in Scotland, is now recruiting for their May 2025 intake and is holding a free information session at the Kuna Conference Centre, Wilkins Street, Bastair, on March 13th from 6:30 p.m. to 8 p.m. Edinburgh Napier's programs, which include the AACSB, accredited MBA, and BA Business, are 100% online, 100% relevant, and 100% flexible. Reserve a place now at www.seidegrees.com. That's www.seidegrees.com.
Babe, we can get up to 100% financing on a land loan with CIBC Caribbean.
Really? No down payment?
With 15 years to repay, it's so affordable.
Now we can finally move forward with the land we love.
Get up to 100% financing, half off the loan application fee, and up to 15 years to repay a land loan. Plus, CIBC Caribbean will give you $675 towards your valuation fees. Promotion ends March 31, 2025. Terms and conditions apply. Visit CIBCFCIB.com for more information.
Let's stop child sexual abuse. The age of consent is 16, yet our 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, and 10-year-olds are becoming victims of sexual abuse and exploitation, which is being forced into sexual activity before they are old enough to decide. This causes mental, emotional, and physical harm to our children. Parents, it is your responsibility to protect and to educate your children. Develop a relationship of trust with your child. If they trust you, they will tell you. Child sexual abuse cannot be our norm. We must work together to correct this. Help us prevent, help us protect, help us prosecute. A message by the Department of Probation and Child Protection Services. Contact us at 467-1311 or 662-6833 for more information.
Supermarket shoppers understand that convenience matters. At Hortsport's Value Mart IGA, we know that price matters most. Ample parking and the widest variety matter. At Hortsport's Value Mart IGA, we know that price matters most. Clean, spacious aisles and the highest level of customer service all matter. At Hortsport's Value Mart IGA, price matters most. We've renewed our commitment to guarantee the lowest prices in the Federation. Why? Because we understand that in this tough economic environment, price matters most. Shop smart. Shop Value Mart, where price matters most. Farms Estate Nevis and Wellington Road, St. Kitts.
Price matters most.
Welcome to Island Tea with your faves. Keep it locked in with us for your daily dose of hot tea, only on Win Media 98.9.
And we're back on Island Tea. And before we continue on to other topics, I didn't even know we had refugees here in St. Kitts. Whilst doing some research yesterday, I realized we had 5 residing in St. Kitts as of January 2020.
Where are they from?
I am not sure. I'm sure they're amongst us and we don't even know.
Okay.
Maybe they would have filed, they met the criteria, and they're here with us.
I think that some time ago, remember when there was a boat that they found, the Coast Guard found on the shoreline, and they brought some people here. I think they were from West Africa or something like that. I think that eventually they gave them, but I think the first they gave them asylum or something like that.
Okay, and most
and
went
then while they made contact with the UN, and then I think the UN took over after that. So I think they had temporary asylum here on St. Kitts. So maybe whoever these individuals are, it's something like that, because boats are always, people are always trying to get from this point to that point, run into some problem with their boats and that kind, so.
But sometimes the place where people get to or where they arrive is not the place they want to go.
Yeah.
It's just a transit point, because even when we have found, I think the Haitians that were up in the hill in Keys.
Yeah.
I don't think St. Kitts were the intended
Usually it seems if they want to go to St. Martin.
They're trying to get to St. Martin, Guadeloupe, or Martinique.
Yeah.
They're trying to get to a French territory.
Yeah.
They speak the language, they'll integrate better, and they think they have way better opportunities over there.
Yeah.
I think their moves are calculated. Even the few that are in Santo Domingo, I think they're just working to acquire some funds to get somewhere.
Yeah.
Some stay, like the other day I saw a documentary where this Haitian young woman, she was living in Santo Domingo since she was 7 with her family, and now she's been deported back to Haiti, and she says she does not know what to do. She does not know the first thing to do.
We have a caller.
Well, caller, you can always call back. She says she's lost because she came up in...
I think we have a caller.
Okay, caller, good morning. You're live on Island Tea.
Good morning. How are you guys doing this morning?
We're
good, thanks.
Fine.
Yourself?
And you?
I'm good. No, I was listening to y'all talking about this Lent thing, right? What's the point? With this temporary thing, what's the point? God is not impressed.
Yeah, well...
He's not impressed at all.
With the temporary giving up this and eventually you go right back to it.
Temporary, exactly.
You see why I say don't give it up?
God is not impressed.
Yeah, I'm not doing no little bit of it.
Turn from your wicked ways, give up sin altogether. You want to impress God, give your life to Him.
That's interesting. I never thought of it like that, Yeah.
Makes no sense. You think you're doing something good, like God's supposed to be impressed with that. And it's like around Christmas time, everybody wants to remember Jesus died. Oh, let's celebrate Christmas because Jesus supposedly died on December 25th. And that's the only time they remember Jesus. And like he's supposed to be impressed.
Died or born? Died or born?
Died.
Some people, Jesus.
Well, they would say he born on December 25th. So he's not impressed. Jesus didn't born on December 25th.
Boy, we don't know. We just pick a date and say this is it.
He didn't. It was winter.
See, maybe that's why they put it then, because it was winter.
when he born on December 25th.
Yeah, for real, we really don't know. And that's why I say all the time, I'm not gonna just give up something just for a season to go right back to it.
Yeah,
Lord knows my heart.
Right back to it. What's the point?
Yeah.
Well, when we were young, when we were growing up, a lot of the other churches were strict when it comes to the Bible, and when we saw what the individuals who went to the Catholic Church were doing, we had a tendency to say, well, as long as you go to the Roman Catholic Church, anything goes. You know what I mean? You can you see them in the carnival. You see, but it It seems as if though now...
When they dust you up their forehead and then afterwards they go back going the same line.
Yeah.
Because in Trinidad, remember Carnival just finished.
Yeah.
And then you're going to see them with their ash, they'll go to the priest and you'll see them with their ash cross on their forehead.
I am head dirty with the cross on it and they're behind the band jamming. Please.
But we're human beings. You can't judge. We leave that for Jesus.
Let me. Why is it when people telling people the truth, they like to call it judge? It's not judging. It's telling you the truth.
Mm-hmm.
No, but you know,
the truth.
I get that. But
we need the truth.
Yeah, I know, but still, you know, the average human being and say, "Oh, we judging them." Leave the judging up to Jesus.
Oh, it's not judging.
We're telling them the truth.
The word of God says it's better to fall on the rock than for the rock to fall on you. People, take the truth. When you going to wait till when it's too late?
Boy.
Nonsense.
So you're not giving up anything?
Look me, I gave up sin. I gave up myself to God when I went down in water, baptized in His name. That's what I gave up.
Amen.
So anything...
I give up myself.
So anything associated with sin, you refrain from that, so you don't have to be...
Exactly.
Yes, I understand.
Exactly. I try to shun the very appearance of evil, like the word of God says.
Amen.
Nonsense. Y'all have a good day.
You too, to you, my dear. Thanks for calling and contributing.
Very interesting. You know, I'd never thought of it like that, like just temporarily giving it up and going back, you know.
Because we're going right back to it. Yeah. And I think, too, because, you know, we know Jesus forgives and forgives over and over. Yeah. So I think that's why, as you said, people say anything goes. And we're not bashing the church. Please don't come for us. Anything goes over there. Because remember, they have most movies, we see they go and confess and confess and confess. Father, I've sinned, blah, blah, blah. They go and confess. So maybe that's their thinking that they could still do what they want. Jesus forgives and they move on again. But to each his own.
But I think that is why a lot of the younger individuals don't adhere to the religious concept, because a lot, for instance, when I was growing up and you see an older person do something and you said, well, how is it that you do that? And they said, well, you know, you're not God, and God said He forgives 70 times 7, and then you see them do and they repeat this, and a younger person had the like, okay, so you don't think at some point God gets fed up and says, man, you're overdoing this, you know? So
see, we would think like that, but then they say, oh, as we say, 70 times 70. Well, I swear some of us pass with 70 times with 70 in our lifetime. But we understand that God's love is boundless. He forgives. But at some point, there must be some kind of conviction to tell us, stop what we're doing.
Yeah.
As the caller would have mentioned, she tried her best. You decide you're going to go underwater. You decide you're going to live for Christ. Just live for Christ. Just give it up. You shouldn't have the appetite for it anymore once you solely are invested in the path that you want to go.
We have a caller.
Yeah. Caller, good morning. You're live on Island T.
Yes, Quinn. To your like you were saying, if you don't think at some point Jesus gets fed up, and yes, He does. You know, the Bible says, up to your reprobate mind. You know, to the reprobate mind, good. So He do get fed up. So don't think you could keep going to Him over and over doing the same thing.
Yeah,
and you can't keep doing it and then go to it. What's the point?
Isn't there a part in the Bible that says something about God turning His back upon you when you?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, that's why He said He leave you up to your reprobate mind. He give up on you.
But do you really think He gives up on us? The fact that He loves us and He made us and he wants all of us to come to Him. And I think that's why He waiting and prolonging this thing, you know. Because remember, He wants His word to go to the end of the earth, right? But then He wants almost all of us to be saved.
That's what He would love, but He knows it's not. He knows it's not gonna happen.
Okay.
Because if you keep going, He said, "I leave you up to your reprobate mind. I give up." It's like, you know, we just say, I turn me back, I wash my hands.
Yeah.
Reprobate mind. Bye, guys.
Okay, take care.
Thank you.
Yeah, well, very, very interesting.
We can't keep doing the same. Even, we know, because if, I know stealing will send me to jail, Quinn. If I keep stealing, It could be in any form. Where is my eventual stop?
Okay, so look at that's a good point. I steal once. I appear in front of the magistrate. The magistrate says, "Well, Quint, this is your first offense, and we're gonna have don't do it again." I steal again, and then every time don't you think at some point the magistrate is gonna say, "Look,
jail for you."
Jail for you.
Exactly, and a long time too. Especially once your third offense come up and it looks like you don't care.
You don't care, yeah. So.
But some of us go to jail, but we still do the same thing because look at this, Quinn. Drug trafficking. We see how some people end up dead. Their family members end up dead. We see most people are locked away. Yet people are still trafficking drugs. What are they thinking in their minds?
To me, that is what they think is that the risk. If you survive the risk, the payout is big, but when you get caught, it is devastating. So that is the only conclusion I could come to. For instance, I know that Harry tried it. He got killed and somebody came after him and said, but I'm still taking the risk because I know of examples of one or two who got away and who are living lavish lives, and I want that, so I take the risk, and maybe I survive for a while because when we look at it, the whole bigger picture, it seems as if though there always comes a point when you get your comeupping. So I don't know why they keep doing it, So
I always say Jesus gonna make an example out of me, so I ain't doing it. I will not be engaging in anything that the eventuality is death, jail time, or shaming. Because we're gonna talk for 9 days. I did this, I did that, but that is left on your record forever. But imagine going for a visa and they said, "Oh, but Cortense, you have a drug charge here, and that drug charge just disqualifies me, even though I'm not that person anymore. I'm a reformed individual. My rehabilitation helped."
Well, I think it comes down to rational thinking because, like I said, when I was young, I was a juvenile delinquent, but at a certain point, I had to stop. When I was still because back in those days, when you did something wrong, they couldn't give you a sentence, you know what I mean? They would just remand you for a time. Even before my time, people used to get beatings. Yeah. Fortunately, I didn't have, that. During my period, I didn't get any licks, okay? But at a certain point, I had to say to myself, I actually sat down and said to myself, look, you're going to have to make a change because if you don't, you're going to get caught one of these times. You're not going to be able to do this always and get away.
Yep.
So it all comes down to the individual and being realistic and rational and looking at the bigger picture long term down the line. So when I became a man now and I applied for jobs and so forth, and I could look at my police record and see that it was clean, you know how I felt?
Good.
Like, boy, it's a good thing I made the decision to change before, I became because police used to say to me, just wait until you turn 16, we're going to deal with you, you know what I mean? So, I preempted them, you know what I mean? Yeah, so I guess individuals have to assess their lives and, come to rational conclusion. Is it beneficial for you down the line? And then now I'm a father, you know what I mean? I have 5 kids. And I remember when my sons were very, very young, I didn't afford them any leeway because I didn't want them to take the path that I was. And my oldest son, he was heading down that path to a point where I sat down and I asked myself, is this thing in the genes? But because I stepped on it, you know what I mean? Early. Yeah. Eventually, he moved away from it. And I didn't hide what I went through. I told them, I said, look, this is what I was, and this is why I'm going to deal with you this way.
Because I don't want that for you.
Yes. We have another caller.
Caller, good morning. You're live on Island T.
Hello?
Yes. Quinn, you was one of the fortunate ones.
Yeah.
You was spared. Remember back then, the army man and the policeman them used to take the young boys from Canary around the hill and beat them.
Oh boy.
Yeah. One of the fortunate ones. I study with young men then how much mix they get around the hill from them policemen and army men. So you really get away.
He's fortunate. He's fortunate.
Well, I know.
But do you think the licks that those gentlemen got caller, do you think those licks made them better men today if they're still around?
I'm sure it made some of them better men, yes.
Yeah, I'm sure it made some of them, because I heard some individuals say, "Look, boy, that Tamon Rod or that, I don't, because it seemed as if in the days of beating, when they used to beat you in the police station, they did not let, if the magistrate said you were going to get 5 lashes, you didn't get them from one police. Ooh. Because they felt like if that one police gave you 2, he would be sympathetic. So you would get 5 lashes from 5 different police.
So everybody came with their own strength.
Everybody came and everybody. So.
Yeah, and when your mother couldn't handle you, she take you down to the police and put you right there. Police beat you right there.
Yeah.
Hey, the young people today, they're very fortunate.
Yeah. They don't know how fortunate they are, and they're still misbehaving, huh?
Mm-hmm. Yep, very fortunate. Mm-hmm. All right, guys.
Yeah.
Thank you.
In my case, I actually never got caught. I never got caught. How the police would know is because my mother, whenever I did certain things, and she always looked into my room and she saw things and she would say, "Where you get that from?" And I would tell her, and then she would take me to the police. So the police never really had any, like to say, well, we caught him. We caught him, and then my mother was a middle class, businesswoman. So certain things that maybe they would have done with just an average individual, they couldn't, because my mother would say, well, if you put your hand on my son, I will sue you or something like that. So, but even with all of that, I had to make a decision that I was going to change before, because it would have caught up to me eventually. It would have.
I liked how our parents questioned us back in the day.
Yeah.
And for me, if my mother saw any strange pencil, any strange book, anything that doesn't belong in her house, she'd be take it back.
Yeah.
Now, I don't even think we question the children that much. I'm not saying there aren't some parents that do it, because some of us use the same, I'm going to use the brought-upsy that we got from our parents on our children. But the generation, the mothers are getting younger and younger.
Yeah.
Their parents weren't that strict, so they're not asking the kids where they get those things from.
I'm even hearing cases of parents who now, especially with young girls, are taking some of the stuff from their daughters and saying, well, wherever you got this one from, you can get it again, So,
I heard something like that, and that's wrong.
Yeah.
Because that's a young lady.
Because you're pushing them further down that part of,
bad path.
Yeah. So, I don't know. But like you said, it's not all the parents. There are some good. And what impresses me is when I'm walking somewhere and most of the kids I bump into, they say, "Good day, good morning."
Yeah.
And I'm saying, well, you have to have some training.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And you travel abroad and people pass you straight.
Like nothing.
Nothing. Nobody says anything.
Nope.
And sometimes even if you say good day, they just
look at you.
Yeah, like you're from another planet. So it's good that here we still have certain values.
Yeah.
And
discipline.
Yeah.
That we can instill in the children.
Yeah. So let me take a bit of commercial break. It's 3 minutes before the 9 o'clock hour, I think. 8 to 9 or 3 minutes before. Yeah. So let me take a bit of a commercial break and we will be back.
Found the Sound 98.9 FM.
You ever hear Earthquake call and say, "Hello, Miss Lee, yes, it's me, Earthquake, I come in Tuesday around 10? No, sir. Earthquake does arrive unannounced, and when it come, it shake all sense and sensibility out of we. Remain calm, stay inside, and do the DCH. Drop, hover, hold on. Once the shaking starts, you know it's earthquake. Make a quick move to a safe place. Don't run to the door, we are in the exit. Stairs might block up or full of people. Elevator, avoid that, because you might get in and poof, power gone, and you're stuck in that box without ear. Take cover under a strong table or a bed, or crouch against an inside wall or in a corner, and cover your face and your head with your arms. Remember, DCH, drop, cover, hold on. Glass windows and doors, outside walls and doors. In an earthquake, bad news. Take care yourself. Most injuries during earthquakes happen when something drop and hit people entering or exiting a building. Last thing, nobody run outside and ask, you feel it, you feel it? Remain calm, stay indoors until all the shaking stop, and do the DCH. Drop, cover, hold on.
This message is sponsored by the Australian Government, AusAid, and produced by NEMA in collaboration with Win FM.
Welcome to Island Tea with your faves. Keep it locked in with us for your daily dose of hot tea, only on Win Media 98.9.
And we're back on Island Tea. Hi again, Mario. How are you doing today? I hope you're having a splendid day over there in Nevis. I miss Nevis so much. I haven't been for a minute. I need to come over to get me some Nevisian cuisine and maybe a little kilo bee. Good morning, sunshine. And I have, before I take my lead this morning, sorry guys, duty calls, I just wanted to make mention of a story I saw on winmedia.com. And it says 3 St. Kitts and Nevis nationals honored by the British monarch King Charles III. And they were honored at the governor's house on March 11th. And the individuals are as follows: Miss Jennifer Nero, Miss Henrietta Douglas Christmas, Mistress Henrietta Douglas Christmas, and Mr. Gerard Bell. Miss Nero, an exemplary leader, was honored for her services to the banking and sporting sectors. She earned the esteemed title of Officer of the Most Excellent Order of the British Empire, that's the OBE, and she was invested at Buckingham Palace on February the 4th, 2025. We know Miss Nero is famous for netball, but she's also famous for banking. She was also the Managing Director of the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank from December 2005 to July 2016. She was the first and only woman to hold that position. So we see there she broke the glass ceiling eons ago. It also goes on to say she played a pivotal role in shaping the region's banking landscape, holding critical positions such as Senior Director of Internal Audit, Deputy Director for Banking and Monetary Operations, and Head of the Investment Unit, among other accomplishments. We know she was a former national netball player, and she was part of the 1978 St. Kitts team that won the Caribbean Netball Championships. And Miss Henrietta Douglas Christmas, a health extraordinaire, dedicated over 40 years to nursing, public health, and community service in St. Kitts and Nevis and the diaspora. Amongst her many accomplishments is her title of longest-serving principal nursing officer, achieved from 1997 until 2015. Henrietta Douglas was regarded as a key player in the advancement of nursing education, healthcare policy reform, and professional development, including the revision of the nursing curricula and transfer of the School of Nursing to the Clarence Fitzroy Bryant College. Beyond healthcare, Henrietta Douglas founded the St. Paul's Teen Mother Support Group and the Capister Women for Development Group. She was appointed a member of the Most Excellent Order of the British Empire for exemplary public service. Mr. Gerard Bell was named a member of the Most Excellent Order of the British Empire for his contributions to customs and excise, a highly respected leader. Bell contributions to customs and excise governance and community development did not go unnoticed. He joined the Customs Department in 1997, and by 2014 he had ascended to the position of Controller of Customs, making history as the youngest person to ever hold that position. So on this leadership, the department underwent significant modernization, streamlining processes and improving efficiency. His influence extended beyond national borders, where he served as interim permanent secretary for the Caribbean Customs Law Enforcement Council. So congratulations to these 3 individuals on receiving their me make sure I say it correctly. They're MBEs.
Is that just a ceremonial thing? Do they get
yeah, they get a medal.
a medal?
Yeah, they get a medal.
Mm.
Yeah, and it's done at
Buckingham
Government House. Yeah,
Government House here in St. Kitts.
yes.
Okay.
I see in the picture it's the 3 awardees, the Prime Minister and
And
her.
that sort of
De Marcella.
begs a question again. If it's the ceremony is here in government headquarters, we're an independent place.
No, Government House.
Yeah. Oh.
Government
okay.
House.
Government House. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I understand.
Yeah.
But that still begs, why are we going through these things? If they were giving you, if the king or the queen were giving you a financial award, I would understand that. But just giving you a medal, yes, they acknowledge that you've done this, but there are some of us of a school of thought who thinks that the British, this is the way they have been sort of using us over time, where they exploit you for X amount, so much hundreds of years, and all they give you is a ceremonial, medal, and say, well, I think, if I'm not mistaken, when Vivi Richards got, I think it was the Antigua government who gave him, his merit and that kind of stuff. I think, in a nutshell, what I'm saying, I think more and more our people need to see us moving away from these British, ceremonial things.
But technically, that's why we still have a Governor General, because we're still part of the Commonwealth and we still deal with the monarchy.
Yeah, and we still pledge allegiance to the monarchy.
Yes, we do.
So you see the problem.
Yeah.
As opposed to pledging allegiance to the people. So I'm saying over time, we're going to have to make the necessary changes.
But how does one move away from that?
Well, some people speak about a republic and that kind of, which I don't know the intricacies of that. But we will have to, as independent countries, move away from this British monarchy thing. And as someone suggested, when we move away, the Governor General can have a post that is sort of equivalent to
president.
Yeah, that
She
kind of
can be the
stuff.
president.
It is not that we're going to just dump her or that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
We just transition from one to the other. So that's
because Barbados is now a republic as well. So they have a president. Then there's Miss Motley.
Yeah.
Guyana is the same thing. A president. We've been republic for eons since 1966.
Yeah. So that is what I'm speaking about. I for one.
But how hard is it? And are we truly independent? In these islands that we claim that we have independence, are we truly independent? I wish I had more time to continue this.
So
but we can do it tomorrow.
We're going to take a break, because Cartencia is about to leave. So we're going to take a break. You can say your goodbyes, Cartencia.
Oh, folks, I'm going to miss you. Have a great Thursday, and let's think about what I just asked. Are we really independent? And on tomorrow's shows, I'm going to be here. We can really answer that question.
Okay. Do take care, Cartencia, and enjoy the rest of your day.
WINN is 98.9. 98.9 is Win FM.
If you live in low-lying areas, be aware of the possibility of tsunamis immediately after an earthquake. A strong earthquake lasting 20 seconds or more is a natural tsunami warning. Do not wait for an official warning. Gather your family members and evacuate immediately after the shaking stops. Don't delay. A tsunami could occur within minutes.
This message is sponsored by the Australian Government, AusAid, and produced by NEMA in collaboration with Win FM.
Welcome to Island Tea with your faves. Keep it locked in with us for your daily dose of hot tea, only on Win Media 98.9.
And I'm back with you, this time on my lonesome, But as she said, tomorrow Cartencia will be back with you. What about now? I'm going to, without any delay, get into something that has been sort of going around the Caribbean for recently, and it is to do with going around the world, that is, and it's to do with trade embargoes and sanctions and all that kind of stuff. I'm not going to get into specifically what effect and what it's going to do to us here in the Caribbean region. We're just going to look at the broader picture and some of the bigger countries and how they are dealing with these embargoes implemented by the United States of America. So let's start by playing this clip that deals with economists and how they feel about these trade embargoes and trade wars and that kind of stuff. So give that a listen right about now, okay? Let me see if I can get that pulled up for you. In the meantime, and in between time, if it is that you want to give me a call and speak on any issue that you wish to, that is my usual trend. If you want to speak on a specific topic or perhaps, continue in the vein of a conversation that we have been having so far, then feel free to do so.
Before we get into tariffs, the heart of the Donald Trump economic plan, we should talk about the chicken war.
The chicken war is a clucking good story.
In post-World War II West Germany, people started eating a lot of chicken, specifically American chicken. Midway through 1962, U.S. farmers were on track to sell more than $50 million worth, $500 million in today's money. This made European farmers mad, so the organization that later became the European Union put a tariff on chicken.
Hello, caller.
Hi, good morning. You started the video already?
Yeah, but like I said, whenever I have a caller, I'm going to just pause it and engage the caller. The callers are going to be given priority.
Thanks for taking my call. Well, things just unfolding rapidly. I listened to a clip on the follow-up of one of the clips you played yesterday, Quinn.
Yeah.
Pertaining to Prime Minister Keith Rowley's statement and Prime Minister Ralph Gonsalves' statement simultaneously. I think Prime Minister Gaston Brown of Antigua, he weighed in on the matter.
Yes.
And when it pertains to Antigua now, some other things is unfolding because there was a yacht that entered the waters, the roadstead of Antigua. As you know, Antigua has, for many years now, they have really initiated a yachting industry, and that is growing by leaps and bounds.
Yes.
And so,
yes, most definitely.
yes. And, I think the yacht was owned by a Russian businessman, one of those oligarchs, as we call them.
Yeah.
And I think the yacht was sold. Now there are litigations in towards that.
Yeah.
And the U.S. seems like they got involved, and they would have gotten all that information,
Yeah.
They see these yachts that they come and grace our waters and so forth. And, and names are calling now.
Wait a minute, Africa. It seems as if, is that to do with, after the litigation, is it that Antigua was saying that whatever awards would come from the litigation, they would go to Antigua?
Well, I did not.
You're not.
According to what I got, the information I got.
Yeah.
I did not read into that part of it as yet.
Yeah.
But I know that the lawyer is an American who is defending. I think the defendant.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, on behalf of the defendant and so forth. So that is something for us to watch because I think Mr. Gaston Brown, he weighed in on the matter of the what Marco Rubio, the Secretary of State, accused the Caribbean for in terms of the Cuban doctors.
Yes.
And so, that is where it is going there in Antigua.
Yeah.
I would have liked to hear, though, from our end, considering our Prime Minister Dr. Terence Yu, graduated from one of the medical schools in Cuba. And he himself, as a sitting Prime Minister, graduated there. I would have liked to hear his take.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Myself too, because a lot of individuals felt that he would have already made a statement, having benefited from, going to Cuba and studying.
But as you know, I know that they request a meeting with Secretary of State Marco Rubio. Well, let's be optimistic, and let's hope after that meeting, other prime ministers will weigh in on the matter.
You mean
because they will cripple our health system, and not only that, Prime Minister Duke, as one of his pet peeves for success, he has keep talking about the smart hospital.
Yeah.
Why would we have a smart hospital when we don't have the requisite experts there? Where are we going to go turn to now to source the requisite experts to bring about the smartness of that hospital in terms of their expertise? So that is why I would like to hear from his end.
Who
representing Tinkerton Nevis?
Who requested a sit-in or a conversation with Marco Rubio?
I think, collectively, the CARICOM, I think.
Okay.
Because most of us, we benefit from the doctors in Cuba.
Yeah.
Not only us alone. The whole world benefits from the expertise of the doctors in Cuba.
You say it's going to cripple our medical fraternity, but I don't think, I could be wrong, but I don't think that the Caribbean is going to allow it to cripple. I don't think that they're going to adhere to or pay attention to the Marco Rubio. Whatever sitting they have with Marco Rubio, I think that the Trump campaign, the Trump government have already made decisions. I don't think that they are going to back off of certain things. It is now in my feeling that the Caribbean have to collectively show how they're going to deal with it.
Okay, one last thing. President Putin said that Africa is a graveyard. You know why he said that?
Yeah.
I have to go, but ponder on that question. Why President Putin said Africa is a graveyard? Because he realized that when any other African president wants medical attention, they go elsewhere.
Yes.
They bank their money elsewhere.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But when they're ready to die, they go home and die.
Yeah.
And be interned. It was a harsh thing to say, but when you analyze what he said, it does not apply to Africa. It applies to even the Caribbean, because we don't want to relinquish our visas. We feel like when we get sick, we turn to America to get medical treatment.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening.
I agree. Thanks.
We'll continue the conversation.
Yes.
I'm on the job.
Okay.
Thanks.
Take care. Thanks for that bit of an interjection there. Rather interesting because, sometimes when statements are made, the West put their own spin and interpretation on it. But if we sit and we analyze the interaction that Cuba and China and certain other places and Russia and certain other places have with Africa, we would come to our own conclusion as to what these things meant. Okay? Anyway, I'm going to get back to that clip. The caption, why economists hate Trump's tariffs and plans.
Tariffs.
The heart of the Donald Trump economic plan.
We should talk about the chicken war.
The chicken war is a clucking good story.
In post-World War II West Germany, people started eating a lot of chicken, specifically American chicken. Midway through 1962, U.S. farmers were on track to sell more than $50 million worth, $500 million in today's money. This made European farmers mad, so the organization that later became the European Union put a tariff on chicken. A 5-pound chicken that started as $1.60 became $2.25. Imports quickly dropped. U.S. chicken farmers and politicians were furious.
And we thought Germany's our big market for chicken, and so if we hurt the Germans, maybe we'll get them to change their mind on chicken.
So the US put a 25% tariff on trucks, like Germany's Volkswagen. And it worked. Their truck sales in the US fell by half, and they never really recovered. Meanwhile, Germans paid more for their chicken, and Americans had fewer truck options. It's kind of a perfect example of what tariffs do: hurt consumers while protecting very specific industries, or attempt to get countries to change their behavior. While they haven't been a large part of trade policy in decades, former President Donald Trump wants to change that.
Some might say it's economic nationalism. I call it common sense. I call it America first.
President Trump has really sort of brought a lot of people out to think that tariffs might be something that's useful in America's economic arsenal in a way that hasn't been used in the past.
Here's how tariffs work and what Trump's proposals would do. Let's start in 2018, when President Trump put tariffs on
washing machines. We're going to benefit our consumers, and we're going to create a lot of jobs.
Since then, whenever a washing machine is imported to the U.S.
Hello, caller.
Hello.
Hello.
Good morning, Quint.
Good day to you.
Yes, and greetings in Jesus' name, the only Savior of sinners from the sins and from hell, and the second person of the eternal Trinity. Now, I want to say something on the situation that Caribbean leaders are facing with the U.S. Now, my understanding is that this visa restriction is only on the leaders and the families, right?
That's the understanding, it seems.
Right. Okay, but let me say something. And I think, well, okay, number one, I do not agree with the Trump administration decision on this thing in restricting visa because, number one, biblically speaking, I believe in open immigration because that is the biblical way to go, open immigration. So I do not agree with visas and them sort of stuff in the first place, okay? Now, saying that, I also have to say this. While I do not agree with the Trump decision, I do understand the motive behind it, based upon my research. I do understand the motive behind it, and I would say it is to our shame in the Caribbean. And the reason why I say all of that is this. Even under the Biden Democratic administration, Biden called, even his administration, including Biden, called this Cuban medical program a human trafficking thing. That is from what I read, because I was looking at Everton Obi Powell Facebook page, and he have a video of Mia Motley, which she's saying that this thing, that the accusation that this Cuban medical program thing was called a human trafficking thing, started under the Biden administration, by the Biden administration. Now, we hear a lot of talk that only that the Trump administration is restricting the visa access to the leaders and their families. But what we do not hear much of is the reason behind it. Like I said, I still don't agree with the decision by the Trump administration. I still don't agree with it. But we are not hearing the reason why the Trump administration is doing this thing.
Do you know the reason why?
Well, yeah, because I've done some research because I wasn't satisfied with what I'm just saying. I wanted to know the reason why.
So then enlighten us as to what you know in relation to the reason.
Yeah, Matthew, even Keith Rollins, whatever his name is, the PM of Trinidad, even he had mentioned it in passing, but I think a lot of people missed it. What happened is that the Cuban doctors that goes all over the world, including here. What happened is that the doctors are not paid. The money goes to the Cuban government. And the Cuban government just give them a little stipend out of it for their upkeep. Whereas other doctors, including Doctors Without Borders, you know, there's an organization called Doctors Without Borders.
Yes.
And there are, and also doctors from some Europe countries, from the US and so on, go to other countries to help out. When those doctors go to those countries to help out, they are get paid directly in the thousands. Whereas the Cuban doctors, they are not paid. The money instead goes to the Cuban government. So it's not fair. A lot of people think it's charity work by the Cuban. No, it is not charity work. The Cuban government profit from half of it rather than the doctors, because they take a little bit and they give to a little stipend to the doctors for the upkeep. And not only that, what I understand is that where pay is concerned, they get something like maybe no more than $10 or something like that a month for payment, and maybe their little stipend for the upkeep.
And do you know this as a fact? Do you know these things that you're saying to be undisputed facts?
Well, I've seen a documentary with it. I could tell people to go because
wait, Greg. You've seen a documentary. I'm asking you. Anyone can put forward a documentary. We know, Greg. You're not foolish. You know how the West deals. I'm not saying that this thing with the Cuban doctors is all rosy and dandy, but I am asking you, are you aware that the statements that you are making of individual getting as much as little as $10 a month, which sounds absolutely ridiculous, because you don't even say whether it's EC or US or whatever. Can you emphatically say that you know these to be facts?
Well, what would you consider for me to be able to say no, it as a fact? Because I'm not there. I'm not there.
Yes, but here is where you would be able to say it is a fact. If you had some other correspondence from a number of different, say, Caribbean leaders, or even from
which I do.
From a number of other leaders who say that it is so. Do you have something where other leaders are saying that they are paid $10 a month?
A number of years ago, I think it was the Brazilian government, and I'm almost sure it was the Brazilian government, had a dust up with the Cuban government, telling them that they were wrong in paying them the little bit amount of money that they're paying them.
Yes, but you said little bit and being specific and saying $10 is a whole difference. You see, what I'm trying to do, Greg, is I don't want you, I know how you feel about communism and all that kind of stuff. I don't want you to let your feelings about something just make broad, throw things out there and give impressions that we cannot validate, okay? That is what I'm trying to avoid.
Yeah, but what I'm saying, the issue with the Brazilian government, with Cuba, is around them figures. I don't remember the exact figures, but I don't even think it was up to $10.
But you hear what you say, it's around, and you don't think...
it was around those figures. I think it was less than $10.
Yeah, so there goes. We cannot... look, this is my feeling. I'm aware of what Cuba has been going through. I am not a fool. Cuba has to survive. I am not saying that what they are doing is completely rosy and dandy, but the Cuban government has to survive. We know how democracy works. Our social security system comes out of socialism. When we reach a certain age, we can get a pension because that is a social system. So the Cuban government has to survive. The Cuban government has to look for all of its citizens on everybody around this region has put this embargo, that embargo. They can't get machinery. How do you expect they're going to survive if they don't find a way of sending out labor and garnering some money? I am not saying this is perfect, but I am saying sometimes we make some statements that are just absolutely ridiculous. So you're saying Cuba is supposed to sit down, keep all their people in their country. They are skilled and they can put their services somewhere. Let everybody starve and die. I mean, come on.
Come on, Quint. No. If Cuba want to achieve the best it could do, they need to move away from the evil, wicked social system, which is really more than the embargoes. The embargoes are wrong.
So there you go. So there you go, Greg. There you go, Greg. There you go, and you are showing why you feel the way you feel. Because they have a system, you say it is wicked, and so, I mean, come on.
Because it goes against the Bible. It goes against the Bible. And not only that, we see all around the world, the more countries move away from socialism, Marxism, communism, fascism. The more countries move away from them, is the better the economy comes.
The better
Cuba want the best for the people.
That is
move into free market capitalism.
That is not a true statement, okay? We are being fed with a whole lot of propaganda, and we just eat it up and regurgitate it.
Well, okay, look at the Human Development Index.
Greg, hold a minute. We have another caller. Don't hang up, because you know how I deal. I like to have interaction. Hello to the other caller. Hello to the other caller. If you're trying, Greg, you're gonna continue, but let me make this statement. If you are another caller and you're trying to get in, do not hang up, because I'm looking at the phone and I will engage you. But when it seems as if as soon as you call, you expect that we're gonna, I might have to let Greg finish his sentence before I interact with you. Okay, so stay on the line. Hello, good day. Good day. I don't mean you, Greg. I mean hello to the other caller.
Yes, Quint.
Yes, okay.
Quint, let's be real.
Yes.
Do Greg really believe that Trump is doing this because he and Rubio, because they don't care about how much the Cuban doctors are being paid? They don't care how much those people are being paid.
It's just an excuse.
Exactly, and this man is just flexing his power.
Yeah.
That's what he's doing. He's testing the waters all over. You see, he's all over the place. He's flexing and testing his power. He's trying to see how far he could push people. And unless people push back, he's going to keep pushing.
Yes, most definitely.
This man don't care not about how much no Cubans are being paid. Nonsense.
Yeah.
Nobody in their right mind would believe that.
Yeah. So, Greg, you can...
Quinn, let me say,
yes.
The reason why Marco Rubio said that they're doing it is because he said they are exploiting their doctors, they are abusing the doctors, and he gave that as the reasons why they have this policy on visas. Like I said, even under the Biden administration, Biden said that, but his administration said, and the buck stopped at Biden, that the Cuban doctor program, medical program, is human trafficking.
Well, look. We know what human trafficking is. So let's not try to sugarcoat and dance around.
Well, I'm saying what the administration said.
Yes, so that is what I'm saying. They put certain phrases and terms to make it sound bad, so that they can. You remember what Clinton did? Clinton, who a lot of black people like to say they love, and a lot of black people like to say the first black president of the United States was Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton went to the European Union and said to them, look, this thing where you have favoritism with your past colonial, islands and so forth, it is unfair to us. The big America, the big superpower America went to the EU bawling, and that is why our farming, our bananas, our cocoa, our sugar, our everything. The EU decided, okay, well, you know, we're not gonna exercise and continue this favoritism. I said that to say this. People don't care about you, they care about themselves. They want to do things to you, and they find ways of doing it, whether it is verbally or otherwise, and we must not be sitting ducks falling for these things.
Okay, let me also say this. Why don't Cuba allow their doctors to get paid directly like other countries do when they send when doctors leave from their country to go to other countries, so including as well Doctors Without Borders, that happens as well. Why don't the Cuban government let the doctors get paid directly? You know, why not that, like other doctors from other places?
Okay, let me ask you
when
this.
they go to countries.
Are you aware that with all that Cuba has been going through, with all that the sanctions and everything, that whenever an individual in Cuba is sick, they get free medical care?
No government give nobody anything free. They have to pay. They have to pay due to the high taxation, because government take away most of the money and just give them a little something.
So Cuba
that's what they pay for the system.
So Cuba is taxing its citizens?
Big time. Most of what you work for go to the Cuban government.
Yes.
In taxes.
Not in taxes?
But what is it if what you're working for, the Cuban government takes it away from you and give a little something about it? What you call it other than taxes?
No,
Same thing with the doctors. That's what with the doctors.
You see, Greg, this is where you remember you're a Christian. You know, remember you're a Christian, and I respect that you try your best to follow your beliefs. But you as that Christian are going to tell the world that this is taxes?
Well, if the government is going with the money, that you're working for, what do you call that?
Because they are under a different system, okay?
But
their system is different to ours. Anyway, I'm not gonna go to, because I'm not gonna really get much anywhere with you on that.
Okay, lastly, but one thing I would like to say, even the Human Rights Watch organization tell you also about these abuses of the Cuban government, where the doctors and so on are concerned, and how the Cuban government violate the rights and that sort of stuff.
And I reiterate to you, Greg, what is the Cuban government supposed to do? Are they supposed to keep their doctors in? Okay, if they send their doctors out, knowing that they have skills and so forth all over the world, and they let them get paid individually.
Right.
When those doctors get paid individually, who knows what they might do with the money, one. Two, who knows if the money is going to, a certain, or any of the money is going to wind back up in Cuba. Remember that Cuba has to survive, you know. That is what we are missing. That is, Greg, that is what you're missing. People have to survive. Cuba has to survive. How is Cuba going to survive?
Yeah, but the best way for Cuba to survive is take the economy and carry it in a market capitalist direction.
Let's use Marco Rubio as an example. If I'm not mistaken,
Cuban American.
Okay, and a lot of these Cuban Americans, because they're mad at whatever happens in Cuba, they go abroad, and then they help to the external authorities to put pressure on their governments to make their people suffer. That doesn't make any sense.
And I do not agree with it.
Mark,
I do not agree with it. Mark, I said I do not agree with the Trump decision and this and that.
Okay.
But I said I understand the motives behind it.
Well, I may to some extent say I understand the motive, but the motive is of no consequence because the motive is only going to cause more problems in the place where you came from. I would think that you come from a place and you go abroad and you find ways of making that place benefit. Okay? But no, but
the only how to benefit your economy economically is to move more and more in the direction of free market capitalism, which is the biblical way to go. That is how your economy develops. The more you take your economy into socialism, Marxism, fascism, communism, and all them sort of stuff, socialism, all them sort of stuff, is the more you are killing out your economy. And this is more than anything else that is killing out the Cuban economy. Yes, the embargo also has its negative effect, and the Cuban economy. I ain't disagreeing with that, and I think the embargoes and so are wrong, very wrong, because it goes against the Bible teaching. But more than anything else, let me put this: compounding the problem is the institution of socialism and the Cuban economy that is also compounding the problem and adding to the worsening of the problem.
Here's what I'm going to say. To some extent, I may kind of agree with you, but here's what I'm going to say. We have seen capitalism work. Capitalism has its benefits and it has its flaws. We've seen certain, like I use the example of Social Security, that comes out of a socialist system. We've seen the benefits of it. Here's my take. I feel that if governments were to take the better of two, they take the best of capitalism and the best of socialism and combine them in ways that benefit the masses, that is the best regime. I don't feel that capitalism on its own is the best. And I also don't feel that socialism on its own is the best. I think mature governments have to find ways of merging the best of the two worlds and using them to the benefit of their people. We've seen capitalism go mad. And we've seen in capitalistic system where you have a big disparity between the wealthy and the poor.
But not wrong is not wrong in a big disparity. What is wrong is some people getting wealthy and some people getting worse. That part might be wrong. But if everybody is benefiting, even the disparity is getting bigger, nothing is wrong with that.
Oh, so that is
disparity. Disparity in and of itself is not a wrong thing. Some people got more talents than others, and so on, that may cause disparities.
No,
the question is, are everybody benefiting?
Don't put talent in the mix where you're talking about a disparity.
Hold on. If I got more talent than you, for example, if I am more academically qualified than you, the disparity in the financial situation between me and you going to be most likely be big.
Greg,
for example, if I got physical talent.
Greg,
if I got physical,
Greg,
yes, I'm listening.
You're proving my point where people use certain phrases, terminologies, ways of expression to say things that are completely far-fetched. For instance, so you're saying, okay, here's the disparity. It has been assessed that 1 or 2% of the population of the planet Earth have the wealth, and the majority, that other 98% of the world, are impoverished. So you're telling me that disparity, there's nothing wrong with that disparity?
In and of itself, once those who are rich are rich because of fair dealings and honest dealings.
But you know that isn't true.
Nothing is wrong with that.
But you know that isn't true, Greg. We live in a real world. We know that the rich use their wealth to exploit the masses. Cheap labor, all this kind of... Greg, I mean, come on. Anyway, I have another caller.
Yeah, Quinn. These exploitations are more caused by government than anything else.
Greg, hold a while. Hello, caller.
Yes, Quinn.
Yes.
Now I'm listening to you and Greg, right? And now we have a saying: where things start is not how things start is not how we end.
Yeah.
All this thing right with America. America have to remember they don't want to put Cuba in the position that they're in today, you know.
Yes.
Remember, it's America who aided Castro to overthrow the government, you know.
Yes.
And when they couldn't control Castro, all of this stuff is where Cuba, where they're at today.
That is a great point. You know your history, man.
So imagine you put me this way. You helped to overthrow a government. You funded everything to get Castro to overthrow the government. And because they couldn't control him, then they put all these stuff on him.
Yeah, because he was supposed to become a puppet who just did what they want, and they wouldn't have minded if his people were impoverished, just as long as he jumped when they said to jump.
Exactly. So for them to pretend like there's no fear about the doctor's wages.
Yes, it was higher. The
standard of living was higher under Batista than it was under Castro.
And
Castro made things worse with his socialism.
Not Castro. The American system used Castro to overthrow Batista.
That is true, and I'm glad you all recognize that.
Yes.
Castro was used by the Americans to overthrow Batista.
Yes. So why then now the Americans are going up in a quandary about all kind of different things when they created the problem in the first place, and Cuba is only going through. If Castro had succeeded in the overthrow and been a tyrant to his people, just as long as America could benefit from it, they would not have cared.
I agree. That is true.
And history has shown that. Okay.
That is true.
Yeah.
And the same thing they did to Gaddafi, and the same thing they did to Saddam Hussein.
Yes.
They put them in power. They were working for them, but some of them fellows decided they ain't going to work for America no more. America got rid of them.
Yes.
That's what all leaders need to understand.
Okay.
But what I'm saying is that socialism from Castro also, in a very big way, compounded the situation to be worse, in addition to the American sanctions.
It only compounded it and made things worse because he was isolated from the rest of the world. So the things that he should have been able to get so that his country could develop, so that the socialism could work, he could not get. I mean, if you go to Cuba today and you see the vehicles they're using, I mean, it is amazing how Cuba has survived. It is amazing how Cuba has been able to take the skill that they have internally, whether it be medical, whether it be engineering or whatever, and so it is amazing that Cuba has survived this long under these embargoes and restrictions. Why don't people give the Cubans some credit?
Hold on. What I'm saying is that I disagree with the embargoes. Yes, the embargoes have made, and yes, it is amazing how the Cubans still survive under both the embargoes and socialism. Not just the embargoes, but under socialism as well. It's amazing how the Cuban people still survive. What I'm saying is that wherever socialism has been practiced, it has made things worse, not better.
I am saying to you that they survived because of socialism. If they didn't have socialism under that system, they would not have survived. It is because of socialism that puts a broad umbrella and tries to put people under that umbrella why they have survived.
But how come every other place where socialism also is practiced consistently, it makes things worse, not better?
Anyway, that is in your mind. Hello, caller?
No, that's where this starts show. That's where it starts show. That's
Hello.
what this starts show.
Greg,
Yes.
I'm gonna have.
Quinn.
Yes. Go ahead.
It's like sometimes I stop and I think, right? Okay, we know the hardship of Cuba, right?
Yes.
And yet they still extend themselves a lot to the Caribbean.
Yes.
Right? What do the Caribbean do for Cuba?
That is a good question.
You know the hardship of them. What do you do for them? It's just like Venezuelans.
Yes.
You hear how the people over there suffering. But yet the government over in Venezuela are always throwing the money at the Caribbean, giving Caribbean this, have any Caribbean leaders stand up and say, man, take care of your people.
Mm. Is
anybody telling them take care of your people? Everybody wants take, but you don't hear nobody saying, what about your citizen? You can't keep out the country money to other people, but yet your own people suffering.
Yeah. So.
You just stuff that bothers me, that I think about.
Yeah. So Greg, we cannot continue this indefinitely. So we're gonna sort of wait. We're gonna terminate this for today. Perhaps we can pick up this another day, because as far as I'm concerned, we're going around in circles. I'm gonna take a bit of a commercial break, and if you want to call back and on another issue, we're not gonna go back to this today. If you want to call back on another issue, you can do that today. But tomorrow we can pick up this conversation. But don't do what you usually do, where you're lost, where you're still trying to prove a point. Okay, let's just leave it as it is and continue.
I'm saying, look at this stat. Socialism always make things worse.
Okay.
Look at this stat. Look at the Human Development Index. Who at the bottom and who at the top?
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. Win FM.
Hey, have you heard about the water shortage in our area?
Yeah, it's pretty serious. I've been trying to conserve water as much as possible.
Me too. I've started taking shorter showers and turning off the faucet when I brush my teeth.
Look, that's great. Another way to save water is to fix any leaks in your house.
Oh, I hadn't thought of that. How much water can a leak waste?
A small leak can waste up to 20 gallons of water daily, which can really add up over time.
Wow, that's a lot. And have to check for any leaks in my house.
But another good tip is to only run your dishwasher and washing machine when they're full, to save water and energy.
I'll keep that in mind. It's important that we all do our part to conserve water, especially during this shortage.
Absolutely. Every drop counts.
This message was brought to you by the St. Kitts Water Services Department. Learn more at water.gov.kn.
Begin natural you with Fruta. So fresh. The juice with the great flavor. What? Not nice like Fruta. The best juice come from the nature. Where fun and flavor collide. Perfect thing for nice up the vibe. Live Fruta full, yeah, that's my style. With Fruta every sip, live a smile.
Live Fruitaful. Look for us on the shelf with our new packaging. Enjoy 100% natural juice flavor. It's so fresh.
Live Fruitaful with Fruta.
Welcome to Island Tea with your faves. Keep it locked in with us for your daily dose of hot tea, only on Win Media 98.9.
And I'm back with you. The time is 10 minutes before the 10 o'clock hour. I'm not going to engage any more calls because there's this clip that I've been trying to play. It is about 7 minutes long. I'm going to try to play that. The reason I'm not going to entertain any calls, though, is that I have to be out of here at least 10 o'clock or thereabout, because we have some technical air conditioning work that will have to be done here. So I'm going to just get to this clip, and when it concludes, we end Island Tea for today.
Before we get into tariffs,
the heart of the Donald Trump economic plan,
we should talk about the chicken war.
The chicken war is a clucking good story.
In post-World War II West Germany, people started eating a lot of chicken, specifically American chicken. Midway through 1962, U.S. farmers were on track to sell more than $50 million worth, $500 million in today's money. This made European farmers mad, so the organization that later became the European Union put a tariff on chicken. A 5-pound chicken that started as $1.60 became $2.25. Imports quickly dropped. U.S. chicken farmers and politicians were furious.
And we thought Germany's our big market for chicken, and so if we hurt the Germans, maybe we'll get them to change their mind on chicken.
So the U.S. put a 25% tariff on trucks, like Germany's Volkswagen. And it worked. Their truck sales in the U.S. fell by half, and they never really recovered. Meanwhile, Germans paid more for their chicken, and Americans had fewer truck options. It's kind of a perfect example of what tariffs do: hurt consumers while protecting very specific industries, or attempt to get countries to change their behavior. While they haven't been a large part of trade policy in decades, former President Donald Trump wants to change that.
Some might say it's economic nationalism. I call it common sense. I call it America first.
President Trump has really sort of brought a lot of people out to think that tariffs might be something that's useful in America's economic arsenal in a way that hasn't been used in the past.
Here's how tariffs work and what Trump's proposals would do. Let's start in 2018, when President Trump put tariffs on
washing machines. We're going to benefit our consumers, and we're going to create a lot of jobs.
Since then, whenever a washing machine is imported to the U.S., the company on the U.S. side doing the importing pays a tariff to the U.S. government.
Their margins are pretty low. They've got to pass that price on to consumers who ultimately pay it. That's the whole point, in some sense, to reduce demand for those goods and create space for domestic producers.
After the tariffs, not only did the price of imported washing machines go up, so did the ones made in the U.S.
There's this myth out there that if we tax imports, domestic producers won't change their prices. And that's not the case. You're creating more demand for them.
So naturally, the price goes up. And it wasn't just washers. Dryers went up in price too, even though they weren't part of the tariffs.
Usually it's the case, if you buy a washer, you buy a dryer. So even though dryers weren't directly affected by the tariff, they were indirectly affected by the shift in demand.
Now, it wasn't all bad. These tariffs did
create a lot of jobs.
About 1,800, mostly from those foreign companies like Samsung and LG opening plants in the U.S. And a study found the U.S. collected $82 million annually. But because of those price increases, it cost consumers $1.5 billion more. So they basically paid $815,000 per job.
This is a very expensive job creation program. And so that's another reason why economists don't like tariffs. They're much more cost-effective, more efficient ways of increasing employment in those industries.
These weren't the only tariffs Trump created in 2018. The big ones were on
steel and aluminum.
Those were really designed to punish China for its transgressions of international trade rules.
Also for national security. They're used to make a lot of military equipment, but also everyday things like cars.
All the industries that use steel have to pay the higher price. That squeezes their profit margins, and it also puts them at a competitive disadvantage against foreign producers of those same goods who don't have to pay those inflated costs for their inputs. And so a lot of studies have shown that you lose jobs, as many, if not more jobs, in those downstream industries as you gain in the upstream industries that are being protected by the tariffs.
Many studies on the 2018 tariffs found some pros, some cons. Manufacturing jobs, which were on the decline, didn't increase, but they did level out. The overall economy lost jobs, mostly in those downstream industries, and the costs of the tariffs were passed on to U.S. companies and consumers. So, not great for the economy, but it did motivate U.S. companies to move out of China and made supply chains more resilient. But it didn't change much of China's behavior, and in many ways they became more aggressive. But here's the thing. Even with all the economic downsides, a review by the Biden administration suggested Trump's tariffs should remain, and the administration should add or increase them, which they did.
Once tariffs get in place, there are two factors that sort of keep them in place for some time. First of all, there are going to be domestic interest groups that have a stake in seeing those tariffs maintained because they like the extra market share that they've gained as a result of those tariffs. And second of all, tariffs are a bargaining chip. So why would we sort of unilaterally get rid of these, even if there's some economic benefits, when we might use it in some negotiations down the road?
Tariffs are really hard to remove. It's why, 60 years later, there's still a 25% tariff on trucks, even though U.S. chicken farmers no longer care about selling in Europe.
So we're still living with the legacy of the chicken war. So that's sort of another lesson of history, is you have to be careful about imposing these tariffs because you think you're doing it for short-term strategic reasons or you're just helping out this industry temporarily, but they can last for decade upon decade upon decade.
Tariff policy is kind of old. Even by the chicken war, they were only imposed on around 7% of U.S. imports. Trump's plan for a second term is to bring them back dramatically.
This is the policy that built this country, and this is the policy that will save our country.
He's proposing a 60% tariff on everything from China, and a 10 or even 20% on every import from every other country.
Countries are going to finally, after 75 years, pay us back for all that we've done for the world.
Multiple independent studies looked at the possible effects. One found it would cost the average American household $1,700 from higher prices. Another found it could cost more than 684,000 jobs. And they don't factor in how domestic goods might get more expensive, or retaliatory tariffs from other countries.
They're not going to take this lying down. They're not going to change their behavior in some way to appease the administration that imposes such tariffs. They're going to retaliate. So not only will U.S. imports shrink, but U.S. exports will shrink as well.
Trump wants to use these tariffs as a revenue stream for the U.S. to pay for tax cuts.
As tariffs on foreign countries go up, taxes on American workers and families come down.
Studies found his proposal would likely bring in around $250 billion per year, about 5% of what the federal government currently brings in with taxes. So if tariffs are harmful, always harmful even to the economy, why is Trump so focused on them? In the last 20 years, China has gotten aggressive, investing in manufacturing to become the world's largest exporter. Even today, they invest more than any other country. It has let them export things like steel and aluminum at below market values. That, coupled with numerous trade rule violations,
allowed President Trump to really restart the whole discussion about using tariffs to achieve certain objectives, such as punishing other countries, and the Biden administration has just continued that. So the whole environment has really changed from 20 years ago, when trade policy was pretty quiet business, and now we're talking about industrial policy, tariffs, subsidies, and all these different interventions because the whole global and geopolitical environment has changed quite dramatically.
And it would change even more dramatically with Trump's proposed tariff plan. In the short run, we know the economy will suffer. In the long run, no one really knows. Will it be a war between the US and the rest of the world, or the Western world against China? Trump wants to play a game of chicken to find out.
And that is how we're going to end things for today on the Island Tea. Ponder that bit of a clip on tariffs and their negative effects, sometimes counterproductive effects, and even further do some of your own research. When I am back again on my own, whether on Island Tea or on Voices, we'll further the discussion as it relates to tariffs and Trump administration and the backlash from other places like Canada and the EU and so on and so forth. Anyway, it has been a pleasure as always being here. Do continue to have a great day. Hope your day started well and continues in that vein. As for me, I'm out of here.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. Win FM.
The importance of co-parenting. Every child has the right to bond with the parents that gave them life. Children are happiest when they can freely communicate and enjoy the time, talents, and lessons that each parent brings to the relationship.
We make co-parenting difficult when we focus on differences rather than what is in the best interest of our children. Parents, your relationship with each other should never affect the relationship